Click.
Get off your phone, Noah.
Okay, first, look at this. Look at this. Felt cute. Might delete it later.
It kind of just looks like an orange circle to me. You sure you haven't been hitting that spray tan a little too hard?
I have a sun deficiency. Thank you for being insensitive.
Oh, that's not even... Welcome back to The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm your host, Abby Perry.
And I'm Noah Bullard.
You know what I'm craving?
Angelo's segment?
No, like some hay.
Hay, as in what horses eat?
Well, I mean, it's not just horses. Other beautiful four-legged creatures such as cows, goats, unicorns, sheep, lots of things, you know?
Wait, what was the third thing you said?
Me?
In the list.
I said... It's not important. Angelo has a segment, though.
What did you say?
Angelo!
Game of Thrones is back just in time for its final season, so I figured that for the first time in Real Deal's history, I would check out this little independent show and see what it's all about. Nobody's ever discussed it before on here, so I figured I'd get you guys those hot scoops. So here we go. The short and sweet version of it is that Season 8's premiere episode is less of a great singular episode as it is a chapter in the larger story of the season. It does a remarkable job setting up plot lines, reminding audience members where characters are, and paying off arcs that have been built up for years without coming off too fan servicey. For as much as last season felt like a different take on Game of Thrones, the first episode of this season really relishes in the old as well as the new. While there are, of course, some more stereotypical movie moments and corny dialogue from the new age of the show, there's also a significant amount of politics and a real sense that the writers are playing the long game here. On the contrary, however, it's very clear that those behind the scenes are well aware of just how few episodes are left, and I appreciate them being blunt and upfront about the story coming to a close. For example, as spoiler-free as humanly possible here, there are some things that we as an audience member have been waiting for somebody to tell another character, some life-altering news that realistically you'd tell your friend as soon as you saw him. But while in most shows or films they would hold it over your head by having something interrupt the conversation or have the character hold out on spilling the beans, in this episode, it's straight up just told. Like, boom, end of sentence right away, no dilly-dallying, no teases, just ripping the Band-Aid clean off. It is a fresh, respectable decision that makes Game of Thrones feel so grounded and raw compared to many of its contemporaries in the medium. While there are still 5 episodes until the series fades to black for the final time, I'm continuing to be in awe about how a show of this scale and caliber continues to deliver and break new grounds. It hasn't phoned in or gotten lazy by any means. It remains a staple in the industry that will be looked upon as inspiration and remembered fondly for decades to come. I can only hope the show concludes in a manner fitting to the quality of the complete package, and I highly encourage those interested in the show, even if only so that they can understand the dank memes, to give it a shot and see what the hype is all about. Now, much like Game of Thrones, however, my time here at The Real Deal is also coming to an end. And while I don't want to go overboard or anything like that, I did want to reflect and thank a few people for everything they've done over these past 4 years. Now, when I joined freshman year, I was desperate to find some place to fit in, and somehow through awkward auditions and super cringy in hindsight segments, I found myself here on this desk. And whether it was ranting about a copious amount of stupid things, meeting lifelong friends behind the scenes, or literally having my lung collapse after the first show, which probably should have been a warning sign for a smart person, nonetheless, I made memories here that I know I will carry with me forever. Through the ups and downs, The Real Deal has given me a chance to grow as a person and become more comfortable both on camera, but also in my own skin. And without it, I probably would have never left my room over these past 4 years, nor would I have the desire to pursue my passions going forward or have the confidence to do so. So Vivian Pong, Nicole Kane, Brandon Krakowski, Logan Sawash, thank you so much for originally giving me the opportunity as an anxious, confused little boy freshman to partake in this fantastic organization. Thank you to past producers groups for giving me a chance to host shows, introduce new ideas, and overall just have a voice for the first time. As for this current group of producers, thank you for being the single most dedicated and determined group of leaders I have straight ever seen in an organization. Thank you for putting up with me in meetings and giving me the utmost faith that The Real Deal is only going to grow and improve over the coming years. This current cast and crew is full of so many tremendous, talented, warm, and loving people, and I mean it in the most sincere, least cheesy way possible, that I'm overwhelmingly lucky to know and have worked with you all. That isn't something I take lightly, and I hope from the bottom of my heart that you all know how much I appreciate every single one of you, especially because I'm going to hide all of this emotion as soon as I step in that back room. Being a part of The Real Deal for these past 4 years in any capacity is what I am solely the most proud of. I am endlessly thankful to have watched this organization grow, or more accurately, crumble as a respectable news show before our very eyes, all from this side of the screen. And I am endlessly excited to see where it goes from the other side of the screen. So for the last time, I'm Angelo Oriema. Thank you for everything.
Thanks, Angelo. After all these seasons, we're honored to call you our dad, EP. EP? EP.
Okay, fatherly dependencies. Interesting. So how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm okay. It's a little warm in here, though.
All right. So, heat?
What? Heat? Symptoms of heat? That doesn't make any sense. What are you doing?
You know what else doesn't make sense? The existence of unicorns, but they're real, so.
This is getting out of hand. What do you mean, unicorns?
A little bit of denial. I mean, there is a store full of unicorns, and I applied a little bit of radiation into her blood. And Anastasia is talking about those unicorns. Anastasia?
Every month, a flood of new movies and TV series hit our streaming sites. A lot of times, it's hard to decide what to watch, and so instead of actually watching anything, you just find yourself scrolling through and never picking. Well, to make life a little bit easier for you, there was one movie that came out on Netflix earlier this month that I think is worth a watch. Unicorn Store. Yes, I know it sounds silly. A lot of people grow out of their unicorn phase before they hit their preteens, and instead of being a hot button word that makes you jump at the chance to see it, people hear or see the word and then their minds turn off. But seriously, this is a legitimately good movie. The movie follows Brie Larson's character, Kit. She fails out of art school for pretty much painting outside the lines and moves back in with her parents. Kit's got it in her head, like most millennials do, that she's a complete failure and a disappointment to her parents. So to actually make some income, she joins a temp agency, which is just as monotonous as it sounds. While she works at the dullest job she possibly can, she begins to receive letters about the store. That's with a capital S. Where the salesman, aka Samuel L. Jackson, with tinsel in his hair and a pink suit, offers the one thing that Kit wants more than anything in the world, a unicorn. To get her unicorn, Kit must perform a set of tasks to prove that she can in fact care for the well-being of her unicorn. Don't click this movie on your Netflix account expecting something super serious if you didn't get that from the title or the summary. It's purposely weird. The way the characters speak in this quick, witty manner, the settings, the camera angles, everything in this film is a little off, but not in the whoops, should have been edited more thoughtfully, more in a very purposeful way that says, yes, we know this is kind of different, but why not have fun with it? Unicorn Store doesn't take itself seriously. It's very point blank, and while it still is emotional, I mean, I know I teared up at the end, it isn't making you work your brain to overdrive to understand everything. Unicorn Store is the perfect movie to sit back and enjoy after a stressful day, especially with the end of the semester creeping up on us so swiftly. I give Unicorn Store a 7 out of 10, and I'm Anastasia Scott, and that'll be it for me.
Thank you, Anastasia. You know, we're a lot like Samuel L. Jackson from his younger years.
All right, definitely suffering from blindness and delusions. I wonder what's next.
What do you mean next?
Nothing. You'll see after the break, if you can see after the break.
Father, can you help us?
The church works with people who specialize in situations like this.
Llorona.
Is she coming?
She's already here.
has no bounds.
Cindy.
He's been underwater for more than 15 minutes. It's gonna be a recovery, not a rescue. I got something. We got him!
We've done everything medically possible. There's nothing more we can do.
No. Please, God, send your Holy Spirit to save my son.
We would like to offer Violet a contract, but you have to sign before the show or it's a no-go. That's the deal.
What a bump on your head.
Really? Wait, it's happening?
It's happening. You need to tell me what's happening.
Okay, don't freak out. But I may have accidentally poisoned us with radiation to make us become unicorns. So.
What?
Okay, it wasn't an accident. It was on purpose.
Look, I need some time to process this. Landon, please take your time.
All right, let me set the scene for this one. It's 8:59, and your favorite show on Cartoon Network starts wrapping up. The screen goes to black, and the Adult Swim logo comes up. You then hear the iconic theme song for the animated TV show King of the Hill. The good old days. Of course, that was back when they aired it on Adult Swim before they stopped and started airing it on Comedy Central and Comedy Central's streaming service, but that's all besides the point. The point is, King of the Hill is a hidden gem that goes so underappreciated. This is going to be a short segment, but a very nostalgic one, so get ready. King of the Hill is honestly perfectly crafted, and Mike Judge is a true genius. With characters such as Bobby, who is always discovering something new that ends up making his dad upset in one way or another, Peggy, who is a selfish, egotistical substitute teacher, and so much more, and Hank, the propane salesman who is headstrong and always having to fix everyone else's problems. You have such people as Dale, Boomhauer, Bill, and many more people just making each episode so much more enjoyable. My personal favorite character is Boomhauer, a supporting main character who speaks pure nonsense with a very plain yet mysterious life. I could go on and on about the characters, but let's go ahead and move on to the storyline. All these characters live in a fictional town in Texas called Arlen. The show is about your satirical Texan family and the problems they encounter in their everyday lives. Each episode has your classic Hank, Bill, Boomhauer, and Dale saying, "Yup," and drinking a beer in their alleyway. This leads into whatever hijinks the character face in that episode. Each episode builds off each other and creates a storyline like no other. One episode could focus on Bobby becoming a gardener or cheerleader, while another could focus on Peggy's Boggle tournament, where she gets crowned Texas State Boggle Champion. And sorry if I spoiled that episode for you. King of the Hill executes character development flawlessly, and each character, even the side characters, get so many episodes based around them that push the story further with each episode. I'll go ahead and bring this to a close because I could just go on and on about King of the Hill. I've recently been rewatching the entire series on Hulu, and it gives me hope in life and the will to continue on. Knowing that a show like this is real is just amazing, and I heavily and urgently encourage you to check it out if you haven't. And if you have watched it in the past and didn't really vibe with it, try watching it again. King of the Hill is one of those shows that don't come around very often, and I'm glad that as a young kid staying up later than I should have, that I was able to watch it every night. And of course, you know I will give King of the Hill 5 out of 5 stars. I'm Landon Corbin, and I will see you next time.
Thanks, Landon. It's fine, buddy. I'm sure you're not showing any other symptoms. Calm down.
You know what? I think you're right.
Oh, I think I spoke too soon.
How did you do this?
You remember the other day when I took you to that burger shop?
Yeah, Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, that fictional burger shop we were served by H. John Benjamin. I laced the burgers with unicorn dust. It's really high in radiation, but it's low in calories. So, like, touch your own.
At least it's low in calories. I got to watch my figure.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't
that's
lose
what I
this
was going for.
perfect physique.
Yeah. Speaking of perfect physique, you know who else has perfect physique?
Parker?
God, no. But he is here. So, Parker?
Who has perfect physique?
Just let it go.
One of my favorite genres of TV shows are adult animations. Rick and Morty, Archer, Futurama, there's tons out there. However, up until recently, I never bothered to watch Bob's Burgers. It seemed to be that one show that was only on when there were better things to watch. Along with the fan base being smaller than most of the other shows mentioned, I just felt like Bob's Burgers was something I could pass on. But I changed my mind and decided to watch an episode or two, no big commitments. 3 months later, I'm finishing up season 8. Bob, Linda, Tina, Jean, and Luis are addicting. Any free time I have, I subconsciously turn on Bob's Burgers and binge episode after episode, which I can't explain. If I ever sit down and focus on the show, I can only find more faults than virtues with Bob's Burgers. The first couple seasons have obvious animation errors. There is no hilarious comedy found in the show. Each episode's story is uneventful and completely random, and to make matters worse, every time H. John Benjamin talks, I think of Archer rather than Bob, which in turn makes me want to change the channel to Archer. Yet time and time again, I go back to Bob's Burgers. Why? I could not for the life of me understand why I was so infatuated with the show until an episode in season 5 called Hawk and Chick. In this episode, Bob and Luis find their favorite actor, Hawk, and want to reunite him with his daughter and co-star, Chick. Being fans of their Japanese B-movies, Bob and Luis come up with a dragged-out plan, all while bonding over the movies. In the end, Bob and Luis hold a movie showing and dub the movie in real time, accidentally dropping the script in order to air their problems between themselves. And after a heart-to-heart, build their strong father-daughter relationship. After the credits roll, I realized this is what Bob's Burgers does right. They know how to make characters strong, interesting, and real. The entire time I've been watching Bob's Burgers, it was staring at me right in the face, but I never noticed it. Plot and story take a back seat to the characters each and every episode. No revolutionary idea or gut-busting comedy are found anywhere in the series, and when they attempt to, Bob's Burgers fails in its execution. Countless Thanksgiving episodes flop to the wayside, like when turkeys took over their town, but at the same time, heart-driven Christmas episodes exploring Bob's relationship with his father shine. The show's success lies in its characters. It explains why I can watch 8 seasons of Bob's Burgers without getting bored at all. But sometimes I hesitantly watch the later seasons of shows like Archer. Those shows rely on cliches and tropes to build up their characters, which gets old after a while. Bob's Burgers instead looks at real family dynamics to drive their show. In the end, plot and story can only get so far. The characters need to shine, so even in the most mundane settings, like failing burger joints, audiences will keep coming back to watch those characters. If you're a fan of animation but think most shows today are missing something, I guarantee it's the characterization. Bob's Burgers is a masterclass in this, and I highly recommend the show if you're ready for a binge watch. See you later. I'm Parker Carlson.
Thanks, Parker, for recommending the perfect place to poison people.
Hold up a second, Abby, because it's time for a shameless plug. And this week we've got Are You Not Entertained and Unwind Rewind. You know what? Let's just plug all our shows. We got Rental Breakdown, The Real Deal Podcast, 8-Bit. We got stuff dating back to October 21st, 2007. Why not watch it all?
Go specific.
Noah, things could be worse.
I mean, this could be straighter, but what could be worse than turning into a unicorn?
First off, nothing is better than turning into a unicorn. You're welcome. Here's just a few of the pros, though. I mean, we can shoot rainbows out of our butts. We can poke stuff with our horns, like what? And we can get featured on true crime stories. So.
Whoa! You said true crime? I love true crime. Ever since I was 3 years old, I wanted to be on a true crime show.
Really, that's like an aggressively young age to get into true crime, but you're in luck because Noah's actually here today to talk about that, so.
I am?
Yeah, Noah, he's been here for several episodes. If anything, he's replacing you as human Noah. You are now Uni-Noah, or Noah Corn?
Please just stop. Noah, let's hear about your true crime with The Act.
On March 20th, Hulu released the first 2 episodes of The Act, a dramatization of the relationship of Dee Dee and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. For those of you who don't know, in 2015, Gypsy was charged with murder in the 2nd degree of her mother. Dee Dee had Munchausen syndrome, which those affected pretend to have a disease or mental illness to gain attention or sympathy. However, Dee Dee was not the one pretending to be sick. Instead, she led Gypsy and everyone around them to believe that her daughter suffered from leukemia, muscular dystrophy, asthma, and many, many others. Dee Dee even lied about Gypsy's age, saying she was only 14 when in fact she was 19. She was able to get away with it all, claiming all of Gypsy's medical records were lost during Hurricane Katrina. The show is a horrifying take on this true crime story. The show stars Patricia Arquette, who you might know from the NBC drama Medium or from her Oscar-winning performance in Boyhood, and Joey King from the first Conjuring movie and the Netflix original The Kissing Booth. The two actresses are both uncannily similar to their real-life counterparts. The show has been met with unanimously critical success. However, the real-life Gypsy Rose isn't all that happy about the show's existence. Although she isn't able to watch the show in prison, she stated that she finds it unprofessional that the creators used her name and story without her permission, and she plans to take legal action against the team. Now, in my limited knowledge of copyright law, I can only assume that they were able to make the show in the first place because the police reports and such were in the public domain, and the case is closed. That's my hot take on that. That's not the final word, but on all things law, but you can quote me on saying that the show is really good. It's scary, the acting is incredible, and I cannot wait to see where the rest of the show goes. The miniseries has a total of 8 episodes that are being released on a weekly basis and wraps up on May 1st. So far, 5 of them have been released, and the next one comes out tomorrow, April 17th. So if you like true crime as much as I do, then I highly recommend you check out this show, if not just the first episode. For real-life horror story fans everywhere, I'm Noah Bush.
Thanks, human Noah.
It's just Noah. We're both Noah. There's no unicorns or humans in the group. Just one collective. I'm Noah B. He's Noah B. That doesn't work either.
I think that radiation is really getting to you.
Oh, there's going to be more where that came from. Michael's here with HBO's Chernobyl. Michael?
It's April 26, 1986. In just a few days, the fairgrounds are going to open for the May Day celebrations. The next day, on the 27th, suddenly an evacuation begins, with officials saying they will be just for a few days, so you bring very little with you. No one with you currently knows the extent of what's going on, and on the other side of the Iron Curtain in Sweden, abnormally high levels of radiation are detected with no explanation as to why. Then finally, on April 28, 1986, the Kremlin reports that there has been an accident at Chernobyl. This is the story of the most disastrous nuclear power plant accident in history. This is also the focus of the new HBO miniseries Chernobyl. The miniseries is a dramatization of the true story of one of the worst man-made catastrophes in history. The trailer focuses very much on the officials and the responses to the events, as well as the people who put aside their own safety to contain the disasters. You see images of firefighters receiving beta burns from the radiation while trying to fight the raging fires in and around the reactor. There's also a scene of the 2 top officials discussing and observing the disaster. We see Boris Shcherbina, deputy head of the Soviet government, played by Stellan Skarsgård, asking Valery Legasov, the first deputy director of the Institute of Atomic Energy, played by Jared Harris, how they're going to put it out. Legasov responds with, "You are dealing with something that has never occurred on this planet before." And this really nails down the intensity of both the disaster as well as the tone that the miniseries is going to take in covering it. The echoing of the message in Russian, "Attention, attention," from the evacuation calls continues throughout. We see images of the evacuation, the arrival of soldiers to deal with the fallout from the disaster known as the liquidators, the side effects of the radiation, the hospital workers trying to help, and the subsequent investigation of what happened flashed before you. Ending the statement, what happened then, what happened after, all of it madness. And this really cements the tone that the miniseries will take. Now, I for one am super excited for this miniseries to come out. I've always had a fascination with the story of Chernobyl and Pripyat. One of the scenes in the trailer that got me most interested is when you see the nurses placing the firemen's uniforms in the room in the basement of the hospital. This, to this day, is one of the most radioactive places on Earth, giving around 2,000 microsieverts an hour, which is equivalent to 1 year of natural background radiation you receive. And I hope this series gets good reception and helps inform a newer generation of the disaster of Chernobyl and how the Soviet government attempted to cover it up. This is one of the most historically and politically interesting disasters in modern times, and with more people learning and being exposed to it, hopefully we can learn from it and continue to prevent situations like this in the future. Chernobyl releases on May 6th on HBO, just 10 days after the 33rd anniversary of the nuclear disaster, and I'm excited to check it out. That's all from me now. I'm Michael Smith. Back to you, Abby.
Thanks, Michael. What do you have to say about that, Noah?
Nay? 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 Nay?
Noah? All right.
What?
You okay there, bud?
What? Oh, God. I just had the weirdest dream. We were unicorns.
Well, that sounds kind of cool. How did that happen, though?
Well, you took... Never mind. I think it's best if you just don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, that sucks, but at least I still have our final words to look forward to.
Wait,
so.
did we just have an entire episode?
Yeah, you were asleep the whole entire time.
Hello?
Say my name so my powers may flow through you.
But I don't know your name, sir.
Shazam.
Wait, for real?
Say it!
Okay. From this to this. You went to bed grown and then you woke up little. That's for white people, because black people don't have the time.
What? Child Protective Services? Enroll this child in school or somebody is going to jail.
By somebody, do you mean?
Kind's best and only hope.
I thought we were supposed to be fighting monsters, not working with them.
Hey folks, good news. I'm not going over a movie this week. People have a hard enough time watching movies the whole way through, let alone listening to me talk about them. So this week I want to talk to you a bit about Disney Plus. Disney CEO Bob Iger has announced that the release price of the streaming service is going to be $6.99. If you're not a college student, that's cheaper than Hulu and Netflix by a considerable margin. One of the coolest parts about Disney Plus is how it looks exactly the same as Hulu. Disney Plus is not only a carbon copy of Hulu, it'll be bringing several popular titles with it on release. The Simpsons, The Princess Bride, Malcolm in the Middle, all are going to make their transition to the service after Disney's acquisition of Fox. Those will come along with original Disney titles, including every Star Wars movie, the Disney Vault, which means Bambi, The Lion King, Snow White, you get it. But it does seem that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And as Angelo discussed earlier, this will be my last segment for a show that's given me so many opportunities in the last 3 years. When I came to Ball State, I was unsure of myself with regards to joining clubs in my major. The Real Deal welcomed me with open arms. Some of the best friends I've made in my entire college career have sat at this desk. As much as we play fight, Abby Perry here is amazing, and she's been there with me every step of the way. Angelo Oriema has been a guiding light during my time here at the university, and Celia Lavoie has always been my mom. But I wouldn't be who I am today without the influence of these people and the ones that came before them. Just know that if you're back there in that control room or sitting in the wing over to my left, I love you guys, and I'm really going to miss this every week.
That was really sweet. I'm going to miss you too. I'm going to transition in a way that's probably not the best, but can someone tell me why I'm so obsessed with Dance Moms? I mean, seriously, why do I love watching a bunch of moms fight about their children? Why do I like the fact that a bunch of bratty girls are given all of this fame and fortune? Let me tell you why. I love drama that I'm not a part of. Don't we all? I love watching other people argue and pretending that it matters to me, even in the slightest. I'm so drawn in when they do the pyramid and Abby tells them who is the worst and the best. That's a terrible thing to do to children, so why do I like it so much? To be blunt, I bring this up because I honestly feel bad. I feel bad that I give so much support to a show that demolishes children's confidence and supports the idea of moms ripping each other apart and tearing down other people's children. It is so obvious throughout the series that some of the girls just don't want to be there. Some of them truly hate what is happening in their lives. Brooke always hated it. Vivi, I mean, come on, Vivi. That girl hated her life. Why is that so entertaining to us? I'm ashamed in myself, really, but I keep getting pulled back in. I thought I had left it behind when Abby went to prison. She went to prison for tax fraud, not for mentally abusing children. But then Abby decided to start working again, and that means there will be another season to pull me in. I left it all behind, but it's coming back, and honestly, I don't know how I'm going to resist. I'll start watching it again, I'll get emotional over fights that don't have anything to do with me, and I'll get mad at staged results. This is the world we live in. I'm ashamed in myself, but I'm not ashamed enough to not count down every second until the premiere. I know it seemed like there was no point to this segment, and honestly, there probably wasn't, but I just needed to let out my feelings on how I am so confused about how Abby Lee Miller can be so mean to kids and adults alike and still make me love her show so much. I once met her, and she literally told another girl in the auditorium we were in that she wouldn't answer her question because she had gum in her mouth. I had gum in my mouth, and I almost peed myself from fear. I still love her show, though. I thought I was better than that, but I'm not. That's all, I guess. I don't know where to go from there.
That's it for our last serious episode of The Real Deal. Check back next week when we make the world collapse in on itself. In the meantime, see our Facebook, Twitter, and website for all things entertainment. I'm your host, Noah Bullard.
And I'm Abby Perry. I'm going to kind of cut in here and say that I appreciate Noah and Angelo very much. Their segments today made me a little emotional, but you guys have done so much for me, and I'm going to miss you very much.
Aww.
See you next time on The Real Deal.